All right, so we've got one example here. Hikers Ritva and Esko, it must be Finnish or something, leave point P at the same time. Okay, so that's here. They're walking along from there. Ritva walks 4 kilometers on a bearing of 040 degrees, then a further 6 kilometers on a bearing of 155. That's in a diagram. Esko hikes directly from P to the campsite. So I'll put that line in. Okay. Now, how far does Esko hike? Well, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Part A. Esko hikes 10 kilometers. All right? No, sorry, I got that wrong. I'm thinking of the wrong person. So this is an idea that we need to work out what the distance is here, which is x. Now, to do that, it's going to be a case of using some information within the diagram. So let's have a look. This is going to be interesting to look for the bearings. We need to either, well, the easiest thing is we know two sides of the triangle, so we're going to have to find the angle between it. And I'm going to zoom in here. What I'm going to do is, and this is a good strategy, I'm going to split it, go straight down south here. Now this angle in here is 180 minus 155, which is 25 degrees. This angle in here is 40 degrees. Now the reason for that is, you notice 40 degrees is here and 40 degrees here. So that's alternate angles, which means that this total angle here is 65 degrees. Now if I have two sides and the angle between them, I can use the cosine rule. So I'm going to say x squared is equal to 4 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 4 times 6 times cosine or cos 65. Alright, so we go ahead and we find that. So let's do it, making sure we type correctly. 4 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 4 times 6 times cos 65. Now in all this, make sure your calculator says deg 31.7143 dot dot dot. X is equal to the square root of that. So we find the square root of that, which is equal to, I get 5.63154 dot dot dot, and I'm going to do it to two decimal places. 5.63 kilometers to dp. Alright, so take note of the way that I used parallel lines, alternate angles, and subtracting from 180 to find that side. Okay, now in which direction does Esko hike? This is question B. So what we want to do is, we need to find the bearing. So the bearing is going to be, I'll do that in pink. Esko hikes in this direction. So he's walking there, so we need to find this angle that I just put in pink. So we know that that's 40. So I need to then find this angle. How am I going to do that? Well, the cosine rule. So if we do that, we'll be able to find, but I could actually make my life a bit easier and just use the sine rule. So let's go ahead and do that. So using the sine rule, we have 5.63154 over sine 65, that's the opposite angle. Let's change that. I'm going to make the angle on the top because that's the thing I want to find. So sine 65 over 5.63154. Always remember, further accuracy is going to help you to get the correct answer. Let's call it sine theta. I'll put that angle in here. Theta over 6. Now if we find this, it's going to be sine theta is equal to 6 times sine 65 over 5.63154, which is equal to, now we put that in, 6 times sine 65 equals, divide that by 5.63154, that's equals 0.9656 dot dot dot. So theta is equal to sine inverse of that, so second function sine equals second function sine of what we found before. I get 74.5 0.929 dot dot dot, which is equal to 75 degrees. Nearest degree. Now, we haven't actually answered the question yet. We need to ask, so to remember that it's 40 degrees. If you look at the diagram, there's a bearing of 40, and I found the angle theta, so it's 40 plus what I just found. So the bearing, ESCO, walks on a bearing of 40 plus 75 equals 115 degrees. All right, nice. Part C, Ritva hikes at 10 kilometers per hour and ESCO hikes at 6 kilometers an hour. Who will arrive at the campsite first? Well, if Ritva, let's check her name again, Ritva hikes 10 kilometers at 10 kilometers per hour, therefore takes 1 hour. We divide it, divide the distance by the speed. ESCO hikes, now we found the distance he hiked before, 5.63 kilometers at 6 kilometers per hour. So we do time is equal to 5.63 over 6, which is equal to 0.93. Now if I change that to degrees, minutes and seconds, it's somewhere just under an hour. So just under 1 hour. Therefore ESCO arrives first. Alright, so he's slightly quicker. How long will the person need to wait before the other person arrives? Well, that's an interesting question. We just found that Ritva takes an hour. Now 0.93 in minutes, we can just do this. Times it by 60 to work out how many minutes it is. 56.3 minutes. So ESCO needs to wait 4 minutes after arriving. That's to the nearest minute. All right. And the last part, on what bearing should the hikers walk from the campsite to return to P? Right, so from the campsite, so we're saying here, I'm going to draw in a cross here. We're saying, what is this bearing here? What is that bearing? So it's going to be between 270 and 360. So the key is going to be to find this angle in here. Now, we can kind of try to do it in a number of ways, but the easiest way is if I realize the following. I can work out this angle because it's the third angle in a triangle. Let's call that phi. And then I can work out this angle because it's 25. It's alternate with 25 up here. So if I do 360 minus 25 minus whatever that angle is, then I can work it out. So, this is part D. Phi is equal to 180, this is in that triangle, minus the angle at the top, remember, is 65, and we found in the previous section that theta is 75, so 65 minus 75, which is equal to, that is 140, so it's 40 degrees. I'll go back up to the diagram, so that is 40 degrees. So, the bearing, so therefore we do 360 minus 25 minus 40, which is equal to, this is the bearing, it's going to be 320, it's going to be 295 degrees. So if they walk, so they need to walk on bearing of 295 degrees. All right, continue to work through. There's an exercise in the book about doing these kind of practice questions, so see how you go.